Go. Hour number 3. Thank you for joining us. Serbia goes down to the United States, 105.79 FS1 in Abu Dhabi, and welcome in everybody to the herd. We're on hour 3. So as we have discussed, as we predicted, this Olympic team in terms of depth of talent is really stacked. Whether our starting 5 is the best all time, sometimes I think sports fans struggle with the reality that your teams in all sports get better over time. Nutrition, training, athletes are just bigger, better endurance. But I think we do have an Olympic team that is as I think it's the deepest Olympic team I've ever seen.
It's okay to say it's the best Olympic team we've ever had. It's okay to say that. 2008 was excellent with prime LeBron, Kobe, Wade. And then, of course, 92, the Dream Team was exceptional. But their competition was horrible, Colin.
Yeah, it's better now.
Yeah.
So I have been watching, there's the Netflix show Receivers, very good. Also Hard Knocks on HBO, get it on HBO Max. And the New York Giants are the team in the focus. And there have been these little moments where you get a sense of what's going on in the room. And there was a scene last night that proved to me just how dysfunctional the Giants really may be. So there's no school, no certification, no degree to be an NFL general manager. Some of the guys are analytic guys. Some are former players. Couple owners think they're GMs. There's really a wide spectrum. Minnesota's GM went to Princeton and then went to Stanford to get a master's in economics and then was a trader on Wall Street. And then the Niners GM was a player and a broadcaster. John Lynch, a friend. In the dysfunctional middle, Cincinnati, the Bengals, Cowboys, their owners are the GMs, which is laughable. So you go from traders to Wall Street traders to tycoons. It's all over the map. I can only judge you, therefore, on the results. I think the Jets' Joe Douglas is good, but he whiffed on left tackle and a quarterback. I hated both, and I'm not a GM. And I could see Zach Wilson wasn't going to work. So how good is he? Bill Belichick's the best coach, arguably, in the history of the sport. And the last 7 drafts, which he's controlled in New England, there's almost no Pro Bowlers. He's awful at it. Awful. I mean, his last draft, he had 3 guards, 2 kickers for the slowest receiving core in the league. He's just lost. The Bears GM's interesting, Ryan Poles. He was shaky early. The Chase Claypool move didn't work. Velus Jones, 3rd round Tennessee wide receiver, bust. But he's been really good in the last 18 months. So he's taken some swings, and he's hit on a lot of them. I kind of think he's an interesting one. He's also helped rebuild the offensive line. But the one thing I do know about being a general manager, and I got a lot of friends who do it, you got to have some sort of relationship with the owner that's comfortable. You have to trust the owner. You've got to be able to read your owner's temperament. Sometimes the owner has kids in the building. Sometimes the owner can be, like Jim Irsay in Indianapolis, a little impulsive. Sometimes, almost all the time, the owner thinks he knows more about football than he does. But there was a moment in this. So John Mara is sitting there on the table, and this is before Saquon Barkley in free agency left for the rival Eagles. And the GM is Joe Shane, a handsome young guy from Buffalo. He's got 2 underlings in the chairs. Watch all the body language with this and listen as Mara is just really uncomfortable with his star Saquon Barkley going to rival Philadelphia potentially.
What's the latest? Just on the Saquon thing.
I just got a text that Chicago's driving the price up and Philly's out. I don't know if that's true or not. Which I don't know if I'll make a couple calls. I don't even know if that's gonna happen, but
I have a tough time sleeping if Saquon goes to Philadelphia. I'll tell you that. As I've told you, just being honest. I've been around enough players. So, but he's the most popular player we have by far.
HBO, stream it, HBO Max Tuesday, Hard Knocks. That's really bad. Like, the owner's not happy. Joe Shane's smiling. The underlings have their head down. Like it's really uncomfortable. And he doesn't have an answer. Well, I'm hearing that, but it may not be true. So if you're hearing it via a text, you don't trust your sources? I trust mine, and I'm just a radio guy. You're a GM. Do you think that's what it looks like with Les Snead and Stan Kroenke and Sean McVay potentially? Or Brett Veach and the Hunt family? That's Mickey Mouse. Joe Shane's smiling. The underlings are uncomfortably looking down. The owner's got his hand on his face. And Joe Shane's answer is, well, I don't really know. If Lachlan Murdoch, who owns this company, was in my morning meeting and said, I'd be really uncomfortable if you didn't talk about soccer a lot today, you know what my lead would be? Soccer. Read the room. Read the owner. Like, the bottom line is, maybe Mark created some of this stuff because he wanted to re-sign Daniel Jones, and I don't think anybody else in the world wanted to in New York. But I watch the Giants here, and there is a disconnect between owner and GM, and I'm uncomfortable watching it. You ever watch Jeopardy when there's 3 people on there and 2 are really smart and 1 isn't, and one's getting crushed, and you're kind of uncomfortable for the person getting crushed? Like, I'm uncomfortable watching Joe Shane there. Like, bro, you got to have answers. When billionaires walk into rooms, if I know I'm going to have a member of the Murdoch family in a room I'm in, I prep for it. Even if it's over a glass of wine and a brief 90-second conversation, I'm ready to roll. If that's what the GM owner conversations look like, well, my sources tell me, I don't know if that's true. So you don't know anything. You're the GM. You don't really know anything. And that's the owner. And it's so predictable for Joe Shane and the Giants. Saquon's going to go crush in Philadelphia. He's a great player. Howie Roseman is just working the Giants. He gets a great player, and he's going to create angst inside that Giants building all season because you know he's going to go to New York and rush for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the back page of the New York Post is going to be, oh, no, Joe. But I'm sorry, watching this thing with the New York Giants, I have no confidence in this organization. None. I mean, you could see the underling. You can see the assistants in the chair. They don't want to make eye contact with anybody. Everybody's uncomfortable in that room. J-Mac hates the Giants, so he's probably laughing at this. But I can't watch that and have a great deal of confidence about the hierarchy with the New York Giants. Can't. I don't even know Joe Shane, but I'm watching that thing, and people don't want to look up. One guy's covering his head, the other guy's smiling uncomfortably. Not good. Speaking of not good, the Raiders had Josh Jacobs, and they have Max Crosby and Devontae Adams, 3 great players.